Hello and welcome to Education Today. I'm Jonathan Zish, School and Community Relations Coordinator for the Armstrong School District. First, I'd like to thank everyone at WIUP-TV for airing this broadcast. On the show today, we have Ray Brannon. He is on the advisory board of WebWise Kids, which is an organization devoted to internet and online safety. Ray, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me, John.
Would you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I come to you today mostly as a parent, but my background was education. I've spent the entire 30 years of my adult life in business with technology, but I started in the 70s as a media specialist in Pennsylvania, and at that time, computers were the big things that you saw in old sci-fi movies with card-fed machines.
Sure.
Today, they're ubiquitous, they're everywhere, and having 6 kids and 2 grandchildren, I was outraged over what I consider the invasion of my home by outsiders. Indeed. You know, we think of our home as a sanctuary in our castle, but it's being invaded, and it's being invaded from not just the thing that we call the desktop computer, but from a variety of devices, hence the name Inspect Your Gadgets. I have spent a lot of time promoting a program called Missing in Pennsylvania and have been training DARE officers, school districts, and others to use a game that actually teaches kids how to catch a predator. And that becomes one of the focus areas that I have when I go into schools.
Tremendous. Well, before we get started with our discussion of online safety, I'd like to see your visual overview of just how easy it is for an internet predator to get a hold of a victim's identity. So we'll go over to our slideshow right now.
Okay. I call my program Inspect Your Gadgets, Protecting Your Family in a Technologic World. One key component is worrying about the entrapment that goes on in the comfort of your own home and the tricks that the bad guys use to deceive your children and to potentially entrap them. I like to tell kids the story of the fox and the crow, an old Aesop fable, where the crow, sitting with a hunk of cheese in his mouth, sees an approaching fox. And of course, the fox uses his wiles to get that cheese from the crow. And he does this by gaining the crow's confidence, by talking to the crow, and by eventually saying he thinks that that crow is the best songbird in the whole forest, and would he, just once, sing a note for the fox. And of course, the crow falls for his guiles, drops the cheese, and the fox gets his prize. With children, it's a different thing. In the teen chat room, I can track a child just by the trail they leave. Here, I look, if I'm the luring person, at the target, somebody that I would like to follow in a chat room. Here, the predator's intrigued by Amanda. And by using what is the on-file information, I can see that Amanda has information that she has posted about herself. Almost all of the online service providers have what are called member profiles. And when they go into chat rooms, they fill out these profiles. In this case, if I look at the profile, I can see that her name has information associated with her. So I type in her chat room name, and I find out that Amanda was a pretty cautious young lady. She gave her marital status as none of your business and put her personal quote as blah, 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 blah. But I do know that she's a young girl. Now I can try to locate her. And by doing that, I can even email her and just tell her, boy, I'm interested in seashells and rollerblading too. So after 2 minutes, the predator knows that Amanda is most likely a female child. She's interested in seashells, rollerblading, English class, has a little brother, and most importantly, has a valid email address. Now, if I use Deja News or Alta Vista, I can use their power search options or any of the savvy internet predators or stalkers to find out additional information if she's ever been in a chat room and has posted information. Now, chat rooms, in this case, was a Beanie Baby chat room where they were exchanging Beanie Babies and information. When I look at the text of this, I can find out that she maybe not gave away the information on her profile, but right here for me to find was the information that was posted according to messages and details of her life, and of course, that most important information, her home telephone number. Now I know that her mom gets home every day at 5:30. She lives on the East Coast, and she has a sister named Sue. Now, taking it a little further, I can use a reverse lookup on the internet with her telephone number and find out more about her. Here I find that her last name is Welsh. And by looking at other information, I can use that last name and find her address. Bingo, I knew her mother's name was Susan. I found her. And here she is. Now, with that, we can go one step further and use mapping programs to find out exactly where she lives. And not only finding out exactly where she lives for the predator, I can get a map to drive to her home with easy driving and directions to find her. One click, and I can see where she lives.
Wow, that was an eye-opening introduction to just how easy it is for predators to prey on unassuming victims. It leads me to ask, what can parents do to protect children?
This is a tough one. When I talk to parents, the biggest thing that I hear is that I'm computer illiterate, I'm computer stupid, my kids know more than me. And I think that part of the programs that I've been doing is trying to emphasize that it is a matter of parenting more than it is a matter of technological knowledge or becoming a computer geek. Talking to your kids is paramount with this. And it can take several forms. One is that the child who is on the internet is probably using instant messaging of some sort, might be visiting chat rooms, maybe even doing something called a blog, which is a biographic weblog or an online journal. This is, if your kids are IMing, there's a good chance they're blogging.
Instant messaging.
Instant messaging. IMing is instant messaging. Well, one of the problems is when I first started to do the investigation of online victimization, I saw last year's Kaiser report that had 1,600 and some children who were that were victimized by being taken over state lines and hence a federal crime. And in each of these cases, they were not considered to be strangers. And so the problem of stranger danger programs is that they don't work. Internet stranger danger programs would assume that it's the type of stranger danger that would drive up in a car and say, hey kid, come on over here, I have some candy for you, or your mother's sick in the hospital and I was sent to get you. That's not the case on the internet. Again, there's that comfort and anonymity of a person's home, and the kids sitting behind it, and so do we as adults, and we feel safe. The problem is the moat around our castle has been bridged. And with kids, by giving away information, they can start in a chat room, a relationship. In each of the cases, by the way, in this Kaiser report, the kids said that the people that had abducted them, they had known for a length of time, the shortest being 1 month. They weren't strangers. They felt they had developed a perfectly fine online relationship. In each of these cases, it crossed federal lines and hence became a very serious crime for which these people got long jail terms. Something for young people to consider. There are dumb things that kids do that they really don't realize that they're doing. One of which is, if they do cross the state lines with someone and engage in a sex act, that person could be in jail for 10 to 20 years. And they were supposedly in love with them. That was just indicated in a recent situation with a 12-year-old girl that was taken across state lines with a guy from Texas. So what can we do? First of all, we need to know what our child's profiles are. We need to know that they're not giving away information about themselves so that a predator who's using stealth to build his relationship with a kid doesn't use the very information that's there. It should be asked to see your kid's profile. It should be non-gender specific. It should give nothing away about yourself.
What's this profile? I don't understand.
Well, the profile is if you get into an internet chat room or into instant messaging, which is one of the most popular things. And in that, we post things, hobbies, the things that we like,
Okay.
age, sex, and location, which is what a predator would like to know, or a stalker. And I don't want to make predators out to be this image of loners and homosexuals and old people going after young people. In many cases, they are young people themselves, or in their 20s. This stereotype is passing. The thing is, if a child is under 18, it then represents something that would involve a family. If it's under 16, it's statutory rape if something were to take place, even if the person professed love. So, how do we prevent victimization? First of all, I tell parents that if you were to take your kid and drop them off at Central Park in New York City and say, I'll be back in 5 hours, make some friends, we wouldn't even think of that. But in instant messaging, you can see a whole list of people who are going by code names. Who are these people? As a parent, I want to know every person that's on your buddy list. That buddy list, there are names and faces behind it. So that's the first thing that we can do. Examine their profile and check that buddy list. I want to know who your internet friends are.
That's good advice. Now, you call your program and your upcoming book, I understand, Inspect Your Gadgets.
Yes.
What other gadgets are you referring to?
Well, as I said, computers are becoming ubiquitous. They're in everything. Soon Walmart's going to roll out a chip called an RFID chip, a radio frequency identification chip. They'll be able to walk through a counter that adds up everything in your basket because of the broadcasted frequency. Wow. The thing is, we have iPods now that the kids are wearing, but there's a thing known as podcasting, where you can go to the internet and download podcasts. People are setting up their own radio stations. Terrorists are even using it to communicate through the internet through an iPod. Cell phones that have all the capacities of taking your pictures, and some of the new things coming down the line are mobisodes and V-clips. Playboy Channel has the program in line to download mobisodes, little brief clips for a fee onto your cell phone. Even the PlayStation, the PSP that just came out, has internet capabilities. And some of the chat rooms are the kinds of things they attract different audiences. I mean, boys are in gaming rooms, and there are chat rooms there. World of Warcraft, chat room. You pick the online game, and there are chat rooms. Are there people out there that may use that to the disadvantage of our children? Possibly. So iPods, all of these things, they're finding the technology using wireless communication technology to get that information out there. One of the recent trends has been something, again, these are little programs that are available in the internet called a camophone. I can camouflage the call to you in such a way as I can turn on your cell phone and overhear what you're saying. Now that's good if I'm a stalker. You can actually buy minutes of this program online. You can disguise your call so that when the call rings, it looks and it's a telephone number of somebody you know and trust, and it isn't that person. So the dangers mean that we discuss these things with kids and we bring them out into the open.
That doesn't sound like that should be legal. Now, besides chat rooms, what are other dangerous areas on the internet?
I want to deal with chat rooms one more second.
Sure.
Chat rooms are really two different things. Instant messaging rooms are generally a closed audience. Kids inviting other kids into a setting where they each are talking. Sometimes my daughter talks to 7, 8, 9 people at the same time. It's almost impossible watching her. And she's using that instant messaging language that if you don't have any idea of what they're saying, there's a good chance it's a foreign language to you.
All the acronyms?
All the acronyms.
We're going to show some of that.
Yes, and one of the favorite ones, if I ever see it, is POS, for parent over shoulder, and all of a sudden the screen's closed down. The thing is, the chat room in that kind of atmosphere, the instant messaging chat room, is generally a safe one, again, if you know who's participating in on those chats. There's another kind of chat room, and those are the interest-related chat rooms. As I said, one of the big predator hangouts, surprisingly, are Christian chat rooms. Once again, if you feel safe and you go to an area that you think you are or have the illusion of being safe, you start chatting. Predators hang out there. They also flood the internet between 3 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. How come? That's when kids come home from school. So there are chat rooms devoted to every topic in the world. I remember doing a seminar where one of the people in the audience raised her hand and said, well, my daughter only goes to, she raises horses for 4-H. She only goes to a horse chat room where she talks about raising horses. Again, there's no place that's absolutely safe. If you saw yesterday's news article on the Boy Scout leader who, again, we put our faith and trust in some of our leaders. And it turned out that there were pornography, innocent images there called, people under 18, child pornography. And of course, this has made national news. But you can never trust any chat room to know who's on the other side and who's talking to you. Well, part of it is to get into your confidence.
That's good advice.
But the other forms of victimization, and I have to put pornography probably number one. And the reason is it's flooding into our homes. It's called sporn. It's spam that has links to porn. And by having filters and blocking mechanisms and other types of things that you are taking action as a parent, we can keep it out of our homes. And part of what I do at the seminars is to give those tools for blocking spam and porn and other kinds of intrusions into our home. Again, what effect does this have on a 13-year-old kid or a 12-year-old boy? And yet that's the average age of first exposure to pornography in our homes.
How about some other forms of victimization?
We have identity theft. Identity theft is the fastest growing white-collar crime in the United States. It generally takes place with low-tech methods, but the high-tech methods are getting a lot of attention. Kids are giving information over the computer, sometimes innocent types of websites. In fact, Kellogg's was brought to task not too long ago for soliciting information from kids for marketing purposes. So COPA, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, came into effect, but we're finding that we have this attitude that the kids are also great on computers, and particularly young children, we're amazed, yes. And yet they are literal readers. They're the first to click on pop-up ads. They are, if it's out of sight, out of mind, many times they don't even scroll down a page. They see what they see. And so identity theft is one where it is some types of information are pushed to you and you respond. A lot of them will be an email that says click on this link and give us information. Adults fall for them, so do kids.
Now, there's a lot that we want to cover today, but I think one of the things we need to cover before we run out of time is cyberbullying. We can come back to some of the other questions if we have time, but much is said about cyberbullying today. How do you know if your child is being bullied and what should you do about it?
Again, one of the fastest growing areas of what I would call victimization. The tools are there. Cell phones that can take compromising pictures of kids, be posted on the internet. The instant messaging bulletin boards, the ways that kids are talking to each other has put the whole community together with blogs. You can post pictures and your thoughts and your innermost anger and that type of thing on the computer. The problem is it stays. It doesn't come down. And so what you might say in anger in a hallway to a kid evaporates into outer space. But on the internet, it's there. Even if you take down your own website or take down your own blog, if another person has saved that web page, it is there forever. So when it comes to cyberbullying, one of the things is to recognize the signs. They're similar to bullying in school, but it generally means that the child is becoming withdrawn, spending a lot of time on the computer. Oftentimes, they are rebutting and trying to quell the fire. Spending a lot of time complaining about stomach aches, being withdrawn from the family, those are signals that something might be going on with your child. And there it's best to be talking to school officials as well. Sometimes doing nothing is the best answer because responding creates some of the problems.
Responding to cyberbullies.
Responding back to the cyberbully.
Okay, don't do that.
To cut it off at the pass, let the people who love you, let the people who are your protectors, the police, the school officials and others, let them know about this. So it means that we talk to kids. And again, part of my big message is old-fashioned parenting. The thing is, we had a conscience growing up in the 50s and 60s. and that conscience was that our parents told us, don't do this, do that. Now there is no conscience about some of these things, from illegal downloads and other topics like this, because the parents don't have the right attitude going into it, the right knowledge to be able to say, don't do this, this is a dumb thing, this can get you, our family, in trouble, this can be an embarrassment. In the case of illegal downloads, whether it's computer games or songs, the RIA has come out very strong. They've increased the number of lawsuits against private individuals so much that it caused a 50% reduction just since last year of illegal downloads. So part of it is reach people, reach your children.
Tremendous. You know, I can't believe it, but we're out of time already.
Oh my.
And I want to thank you for that eye-opening look
You're
at
welcome.
how to protect ourselves from the darker side of technology.
Thank you, John.
So thank you for
All
being
right.
on the show, Ray.
Okay.
I'd also like to thank Barb Keller, who teaches television production classes at Ford City Junior Senior High School. Her students did an outstanding job as today's crew. So please join us again next week for another episode of Education Today, where we show you Armstrong School District's classroom initiatives. Until next time, have a safe and enjoyable week.
To support the core reading and math curriculum, teachers received extensive training on the Plato learning systems, which included full-day sessions as well as building-level support utilizing technology mentors. Through the Plato learning systems, teachers created specific learning pathways for students to maximize learning opportunities and began to analyze ongoing assessment information to make instructional decisions to ensure student success.